Hello, 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 and welcome to I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but the final night of JW3's Hanukkah Spark, where for the past week we have gathered so many of our favorite performers and shared with you some light in the darkness. I have stolen the last of the Hanukkah gelt from my children, and together we will get through this. This being the eighth night, we'll be shining extra brightly with some very classy guests, including cabaret artiste Lenny Beige, New York rabbi and performer Amichai Lau-Levi, and not a panto dame, but a real live dame, star of stage, screen and radio, Maureen Lipman. I'm your host, Tracy Cashy, and tonight comes to you virtually from JW3, the epicenter of Jewish culture and community in London. And for the moment, like this one, where our cinema, theatre and classrooms have had to move almost all of our activity online, our building remains an essential hub, now buzzing with volunteers as we run a food bank, which has delivered over 80,000 meals to surrounding communities since the start of the pandemic. On to tonight. And on this final edition, we are in association with Lab Shul, an everybody-friendly, artist-driven community based in New York City and reaching the world. Our first guest is Lab Shul's rabbi and founding spiritual leader, Amichai Lau-Levi. Amichai is a writer, performance artist, and creator of Storytelling Inc. He has been hailed as a rock star by the New York Times and iconoclastic mystic by Time Out magazine. Let's head over to Amichai Lau-Levi right now.
Good evening and Chanukah Sameach from Harlem in New York City. I'm Amichai Lau-Levi, and I'm happy to share this moment with my friends in London and everywhere as we wrap this Chanukah and keep on staring into the flames to find the hope and healing and the resilience we need. So here's a question. Imagine getting a car for Chanukah, perhaps, a brand new car. You're so excited, you cut the ribbon, you go sit inside, it's the car you always wanted, and that's it. You just sit in the car for a minute or an hour or a day, and you're not driving the car. Silly, right? I think that for many of us, how we use the Chanukah candles is the same thing. We light them, but then we go about our business eating latkes or playing games, but we don't sit there and actually utilize them for what they're for. We don't go for a ride with the actual candlelight. The instruction we received, the user manual for the Chanukah candles on night 1 or on this night 8 are Hanerot halalu kodeshem. These candles are holy. They are holiness. And we have no permission to use them practically, but to look at them, lirotam bilvad, to see. To use the gift of insight, hitbonenut in Hebrew, looking deep within. I grew up in Israel, had many beautiful Chanukas, but only a few years ago did I realize the power of the candles to be this vehicle of introspection, a gift, a technological innovation as ancient as humanity for making sense of senselessness and repair the despair midwinter. My story is 5, maybe 6 years ago. On the 5th night of Hanukkah, I was away with a lover at the time in a house in the country, and we broke up that night. It was awful. He drove off. I stayed there with my menorah ready to go and a little bit of bourbon, and I lit, heartbroken, and stared into the flames all night long until the oil died out, and then I danced with the darkness and did that again the next night and learned to appreciate the gift of flames as they dance and center and remind me that everything passes and hope is strong. This is but one small experience of so many harsh, horrible, way worse human reminders of why light in the darkness is our gift to make it through. So on this night, I'm meditating 8 long minutes into the candles after lighting and blessing and celebrating. Last night I meditated for 7 and the night before for 6. Pandemic has taught me the gift of introspection, of hitbonenut, of looking inside and using everything we got from lighting candles to connecting virtually, to light this night, to connect more deeply and to arise. So Lirotam bilvad. May we look into each other's eyes and find the flames. May we look inside and find our power. May this Chanukah 2020 give us the memories we need to build a better future and keep dancing with the flames on this and every night. And then go for a ride with what we got to make it better. Chanukah Sameach. May this winter and this year bring us a great deal of hope, healing, joy, and love. Laila Tov.
Laila Tov, Amichai, that was absolutely beautiful. And thank you, Lab Shul, for sharing it with us. Now it's time to light our candles. Have you got your shamash ready? First bracha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu, bayamim hahem b'zman hazeh. Everyone join in. Ma'otzu Yeshuati, L'chana el shabeach, Tikon betafilati, V'sham toda nazabeach, Lihetachin matbeach, Mitzam nabeach, Azigmo b'shir mizmo, Chanukah hamizbeach, azegmo b'shir mizmor, Chanukah hamizbeach. I am really delighted now to welcome the one and only Maureen Lipman, BAFTA-nominated star of stage, screen, and radio. She is best known for her roles in The Pianist and Educating Rita, and of course many of you know her as Evelyn Plummer on Coronation Street. During lockdown, alongside Coronation Street, she presented a tour de force performance in the online stage show Rose by Martin Sherman, and was also made a Dame. So Dame Maureen Lipman, over to you.
Hello, Hag Sameach, everyone. I'm in my dressing room at Coronation Street, as you can see, the epitome of glamour as Evelyn Plummer. So this is the story. It was Hanukkah. I was opening Rejoice as a Joyce Grenfell show with my accompanist Dennis King, and we were in a blizzard in Connecticut, the Long Wharf Theatre. And my dad, aged 80, was in London, staying there with my mother, looking after the kids, and he'd had so many brushes with the Grim Reaper, but he seemed to be all right when I left. And the show was opening there, but who was going to come in this blizzard? And the news came just before opening night that Dad had died. And there I was in my dressing room with my little set of candles. And I had no idea what to do. How could I get to an airport to get back to them? I rang the rabbi and they said, well, you know, you should wait. People should wait for the daughter to be back. And then my brother rang me. He'd been living out of London, out of England for 30, 40, 50 years, maybe 40 years. And he said, I'm there, let me do this time. So that's what I did. On the night we opened, which was 2 nights later, I think I saw a rabbi there briefly, yeah. And we opened, and the people who made it through the blizzard were sitting out the front. And I didn't really know where I was. I was just confused, and I just didn't know whether I would get through 2.5 hours, 2 hours on stage alone. And my pianist played the opening music, and I was dressed in this wonderful floating organza dress. And I walked on stage in very strange territory. And from that moment, I don't remember anything except suddenly it was the end and people were standing up and applauding. And my accompanist said to me afterwards, "You do know that Joyce played for you tonight, don't you?" I think she did. I went on, I came off. And apparently it was so Joyce that night that that was his comment. So there are miracles. There will be other miracles. We will get through this. Hag Sameach. Mwah. That's my story.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Chag Sameach to you. That was a very inspiring story. It was beautiful. I'm very excited to welcome my final guest. He is someone who has continued to wear makeup throughout all 3 lockdowns. Lenny Beige, also known as Steve First, is a British comedian, actor and writer. He starred in the Orange mobile phone cinema adverts in the UK. He has appeared regularly on Great Britain. As his alter ego, Lenny Beige, Steve wrote and starred in many TV shows for Channel 4 and the BBC. Let's find out how Mr. Leonard Beige celebrates Hanukkah. Lenny.
How are you, Tracy?
I am thrilled to meet you finally.
Chag Sameach as well. It's beautiful to be here. Beautiful.
I'm your biggest fan. I really am.
This is what I hear a lot. And that's it is literally the cross that I have to bear. When one is burdened with the talents that I am, you just have to suck it up. You have to accept that people are humbled to meet you in their multitudes.
Precisely. This is precisely the point. I am absolutely humbled to meet you. You are a Jewish superstar. As a youth, about 20 years ago, I remember going to the Talk of London and seeing an incredible live show. You were a phenomenon. Your game show, Jew Who, will go down in history as one of the best nights of my life.
There you go. It fills my heart, nachas, just to know that I swell with pride.
You're not forgotten. You're not forgotten, I tell you.
Damn right I'm not forgotten. I'm not forgotten. It's funny, when entertainment changes and so forth. I always think I'm like a hardy perennial in the garden of entertainment. I'm always flowering. I always have the leaves on me, the leaves of quality, and I think, in many ways, people say, Lenny, you look almost younger than you used to look.
How are you doing this?
I'll let you into a secret, Tracy. My mother, Sadie Beigewitz, who is for many years been at the knocking at heaven's door, old age people's home in Temple Fortune. She was famed for her chicken soup, which is why she's known as the kosher chicken giblet queen of Whitechapel. And so the schmaltz that she would get on that soup was extraordinary. And I've never been one for facelifts or pushing animal fat into my face. So I would take the schmaltz from the soup and I would apply that liberally to my skin. And that is the only regime that I've needed. It repels people often when you meet them for the first time, that and the smell of the wig. And if you're going to ask me, do I light the candles tonight? I have to get somebody else to do it because, frankly, a naked flame near this nylon-made wig, it would go up like an oil refinery. So I have to be very careful.
We need you. We need you. We need some musical entertainment. Speaking of extreme schmaltz,
go on.
Sorry, what are you going to sing for us? We've got one number, and then hopefully we'll persuade you to do another one.
Okay, I thought I would keep it, keep it sort of. I didn't want to do a Hanukkah song. I've written Hanukkah songs over the years, and they're probably not for here and for now. So I thought I would do a song about light and about flame. It's a very important message. And I've always loved this song and I've always come back to it. And this is an amazing rendition of an absolute classic. And it's Light My Fire.
Glorious. Let's hear it. Ignite.
Okay, here we go. What a beautiful kind of. This was Shirley Bassey's arrangement, and I mean, not that she arranged it, of course. She got a man in to do it, as indeed was her wont. There we are. And it kind of just builds. And I hope you've all had. Can I just say the work you've been doing for these last nights has been incredible, and what a voice you've got, Tracy. What a God-given talent. Oh! Here we go. You know that I would be a true. You know I would be alive if I were to say it to you. I said, light my fire. Here we go. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The time to hesitate, that's through. There's no time to wallow in the mire. Try, we can only lose. And a love become a funeral pyre. So come on, light my fire. I said, why don't you light my fire? I try to set the night on fire. Yow! The time to hesitate, that's through. There's no time to wallow in the mire. Oh no, we could try, but we'll only lose. And love become a funeral pyre. So Tracy, come on, light my fire, please. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set this night on the seventh night fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Oh, yes, you gotta light my fire. Ow! There we are. Thank you. Where you applauding?
They told me that they could either mute me or I could agree not to laugh, and I welched. I'm sorry. I hope that didn't put you off.
Certainly
that
not.
was okay. I got so much to say. I think I'm going to explode. That was extraordinary, Lenny.
Oh,
you
bless
get
you,
better. You get better.
Like a fine wine, you know,
Wine
like
and
fine
cheese and good expensive cheese.
Wine. Exactly.
But you, I think you've been drinking a bit much because you've missed the seventh night. We're on the eighth night, Don. We're on the eighth night. Please don't tell me.
This is why I in many ways I'm a bad Jew. I could either blame it on being a bad Jew or just numerically dyslexic. So
bad at maths, bad at Judaism.
Exactly.
But an extraordinary entertainer who, by the way, please, everyone, put this in your diary. January the 28th.
28th, yes.
You're going to be performing. God bless you. Thank you for that. Now that is sharing light.
Well, you know what I'm doing? I've been doing a Neil Diamond tribute for years. I used to, you know, I did an Anthony Newley tribute who I adored, and then, but it was very hard. It's a hard sell. People don't really know who he is anymore. And one night I got up at a friend's party. I can't remember where I think it was one of Leslie Joseph's Jew Come Here Often parties. And I remember it was a karaoke room and I sang a Neil Diamond song, which I've done before, but suddenly it dawned on me. We have the same sort of timbre of voice, that lower baritone that a lot of people, you know, a lot of pop stars, they're very high register, as you know. And so to have And I thought I should be doing a Neil Diamond tribute show, the Jewish
Mhm.
Elvis. And so I have been doing it for a couple of years, and I'm bringing a stripped down, just beige piano player and just the
Do you,
greatest Neil Diamond hits.
do you do Love on the Rocks?
Oh, you know that is my favorite.
That is
I mean,
my favorite.
Oh,
Hello again, hello.
hello. It's just
Oh.
every time you kind of go, "Oh, I'm going to do this one," and then you luxuriate in. Often they are. I play guitar, and I'm not the greatest guitar player, but the wonderful thing about Diamond is you don't have to be. And his stuff is so simple, but yet just extraordinary,
accessible,
exactly. And and of course, I'm going to be doing this one, and I've changed the lyrics for it, and I always go, "Oh, I won't do it. I won't do it." And you always have to come back to this one and it's the reason that certain stars will always be kind of inextricably tied to certain songs because they're the greatest songs. And, songs that are played at sporting arenas that, when people have no idea who did the song, but you kind of grow up with it subsumed into your subconscious for whatever reason, just because they are, in the way that those Gershwin classics or Cole Porter, they are genuinely, I think, great American songbook songs,
Amen. But this is different because this is by a Jew who and you are an extraordinary Jew, and you bring joy into the Jewishness of it all. And honestly, hand on heart, I am thrilled to ask you to sing your second song, please.
Okay, I'm going to do this, and I today I just changed the words. I thought I could just do a straight up version of this song, and I thought, oh no, I'll just change it slightly, and I will. It's opposite, obviously, to the 8th.
The 8th. Remember the 8th.
Hanukkah. I remember the 8th. I'm never going to forget it. Every time I go around to someone's for Hanukkah, is this the 8th night? I'm sure it's the 8th night. Anyway, so let me so as soon as people hear it, they're usually up on their feet. Even my mother, who's been bedbound for about 40 years. Here we go. Yeah. When it began, I can't begin to know when. I look at the lights, they're glowing strong. But it was back in the day when this oily miracle happened. That's when Hanukkah came along. And let me see them. Hands, because we're touching hands as long as we're wearing protective gloves. Reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Hanukkah. 8 days never felt so good. I'm lighting my menorah like this you always should. Oh yes, now I look at the flames flicker on every candle. We've lit them up, just we two. But if any of them burned my beige fingers, they would not hurt while I'm holding you. Work the camera. One, touching one, and I'm reaching out, touching me, touching you, all together. Sweet Hanukkah. 8 days never seemed so good. 'Cause I'm lighting my menorah just like the way I knew I should. Oh no. Shall we do it again? Come on, JW3 people, let's do it again for the 8th night of Hanukkah. It's definitely the 8th, isn't it? Thank you so much. Here we go. Oh, sweet Hanukkah. These 8 days never felt so good. 'Cause I'm lighting my menorah. That's with a lighter. I should use that. But I knew they always would. Oh, yeah, sweet Hanukkah. These 8 days, they never felt so good. Because I'm lighting my menorah. I didn't realize it, but I thought we were going to go again. Anyway, that's it. That's sweet Hanukkah.
Oh, sweet Lenny Beige.
Thank you.
We love you so very much.
I do what I can. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you. I'm humbled and honored. I
You-
love what you've done.
See you on January the 28th for your show at JW3.
Absolutely. Whether it's in the flesh, whether it's remotely, we will make it work in some way, shape, or form. But rest assured, Beige, Diamond, JW3, it's a triumvirate that must be obeyed. Yeah.
Glorious. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
And see you soon. Wow. Lenny, we love you. It doesn't get better than that. Thank you so much. That's it for this year. If you go down to our download page, which you can see at the bottom of your screen, we have a final gift from everyone's favorite chef and cookbook writer, Claudia Roden. On this last night, she offers a delicious recipe for courgette and feta fritters. Thank you for being with me through these past 8 nights. And if you want to catch up on any that you've missed, you'll find us on YouTube. Highlights include stories of a magician father, a flaming Lego menorah, the story of Judith, and many tales about how what is truly important in our lives has shined through this year more brightly than ever. We have enjoyed Hanukkah songs on slide guitar, played by brass bands, folk singers, jazz pianists, and discovered Ladino songs from Syria. Thank you to Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, Ben Kaplan, Ian Shaw, Ronna Glickman, Rob Rinder, Alicia Jo Rabens, David Katz-Nelson, Luther Dickinson, Graham Lesh, Amy Helm, and Blind Boy Paxton, Toda Rabah, Sam Eastman, Edgar Kerrett, and Nicole Krauss, Anna Silvera, Howard Jacobson, and of course, tonight's guests, Amichai Lau-Levi, Maureen Littman, and the glorious Lenny Beige. I am Tracy Cashy. I also want to thank the production team behind this madness, Michaela Broomberg and Jacqueline Nichols, and the production boys, Daniel and Roy. I really hope you all have a very safe and happy Hanukkah. Good night from me.